Jakobi Meyers could be on his way out of Las Vegas. Should the Raiders trade Jakobi Meyers or no? Yo, what is up, Raider Nation? It's your boy Simone Raider back at it again with yet another video. And today, man, we're gonna talk about Jakobi Meyers. There's been a lot of rumors, speculations going around as of late, and according to Jeremy Fowler, he tweeted out that the Raiders wide receiver Jakobi Meyers could be traded before the deadline. Also saying that teams I've spoken to believe the Raiders are open to trading wide receiver Jakobi Meyers, but are not actively trying to move him. The sense is that the Raiders would prefer to play out the season before making major determinations about the roster. But Meyers requested a trade in the preseason, so a potential deal feels at least on the table. Now, throughout 6 games, I don't feel like Jakobi Meyers has been utilized as much as I felt like he should be as a wide receiver 1. Now, granted, the offense has been struggling so far this year, whether it's the offensive line, whether it's due to injuries, or even Geno Smith just not being that guy for us on the offensive side of the ball. Because I expected a lot more from this offense going into the season, but just to see how the offense has been mostly lackluster can really bring up the question on whether or not the Raiders should or shouldn't trade Jakobi Meyers. I mean, looking at the eye test and being at the games or watching the games on TV, you would think maybe we should, because we haven't been utilizing Jakobi Meyers to his full potential. Most games, it seems like he's non-existent, and most of that can be due to Geno Smith and his poor play. Now, I seen a stat that was kind of interesting to me, comparing Jakobi Meyers last year to this year and the stats in the first 5 games. Now, I know he was inactive in the 6th game last year, so I'm just going to count the first 5 games. In 2024, he had 25 receptions, 273 yards, and a touchdown in the first 5 games. Now, in 2025, the numbers are nearly identical. 25 receptions for 290 yards, but no touchdowns. Now, he does lead the Raiders in receptions so far this year, so that's something, right? So with the question, I wanted to look at the pros and some of the cons on trading Jakobi Meyers. Now, let's look at the pros and why this would be a good move for the Raiders. Now, first and foremost, this would free up a lot of opportunities for a lot of the young receivers that we have on the roster right now. You know, Jack Besh, who we drafted in the 2nd round, is barely getting any play time. So you would think that he'd get a lot more opportunities now if the Raiders were to trade him away. He's basically almost the same as Jakobi Meyers. He's a possession receiver that could go up maybe for those 50-50 balls as well. He has a lot of upside, but we just haven't seen him on the field that much. Now, Trey Tucker, of course, is slowly breaking out into being one of the better receivers for the Las Vegas Raiders, and his opportunities are going to skyrocket even more. On top of that as well, Dante Thornton would get a bigger role, I guess bigger than what he's having right now. And with the money that the Raiders would potentially save, they could use that elsewhere on an offensive lineman, or maybe going out and getting another wide receiver, maybe trading for another young wide receiver. Who knows? Another reason is that the Raiders could lose him for nothing. So why not trade him for something, right? He's on his final year of his contract, and he most likely could leave the Raiders in free agency if he doesn't get an extension done, which most likely doesn't seem like the Raiders will be doing that. Now, if he does leave, the Raiders have a chance of getting a comp pick in next year's draft, which could both the question why even trade him in the first place, right? But if the Raiders are thinking of trading him away and just getting some value right now, then okay. I'm sure that there's some other teams out there that could use a wide receiver too, like Jakobi Meyers. Heck, I've seen some trade talks, and one potential team that could come and get Jakobi Meyers is the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are looking to bring another wide receiver to complement DK Metcalf. Now, according to Just Block Baby, I seen this report on Adam Schefter saying that the Pittsburgh Steelers were in market for a wide receiver, and Meyers is by far the most appealing option among the potentially available players that Schefter listed. Pittsburgh not only has all of its own selections during the 2026 NFL draft, but it picked up an additional 3rd rounder when they traded away George Pickens. This gives them a bit more flexibility to make deals at the deadline, and a mid-round pick is likely to be the asking price for Jakobi Meyers. Trading him within the AFC is not optimal, but clearly the new regime in Las Vegas does not think enough to pay him, so they likely have no quarrels about keeping him in the conference. Plus, the Steelers making this trade lines up with their timeline perfectly. And for the Steelers, this would make a lot of sense. You got DK Metcalf as your wide receiver 1. You got Calvin Austin as the wide receiver that could stretch the field. And then if you bring in Jakobi Meyers, he's a solid number 2. I mean, for most teams, he'd be a solid number 2 out there. But, you know, for the Raiders, he's considered our number 1, which says a lot about our receiving core. But, you know, that's besides the point. Now, looking at the cons on the Raiders trading away, because I feel like there's more cons than pros, to be honest with you guys. First is we'd lose our most experienced wide receiver right now. Jakobi Meyers is one of our most dependable wide receivers, and at least for what we have, he's the best guy there. Replacing him right now would be really risky, especially having to go out there and play with all the young wide receivers. I mean, we've seen Geno Smith throw Dante Thornton under the bus because Thornton is still a young receiver, still learning the game of football. And at this point, can you really expect Geno to do a lot with the young receivers that we have now? There's a lot of potential, but not having that veteran out there could be a risky move and messing up the whole offensive flow. The Raiders would also take a cap hit of $14.9 million if they were to move on from him. So I don't really think that it's really worth it to move on from him just yet. And the last thing is just the Raiders will get a weak return. I mean, at best, I've seen people say 4th round, maybe 3rd round if everything aligns. But I don't see the Raiders getting anything more than a 3rd round pick. A 4th round pick seems to be more realistic. And at that point, why even trade him away? Let him play the rest of the year. If he leaves, he leaves. And we'd still get a mid-round pick. So why trade him right now? That's my whole thoughts on trading him away. Would I realistically trade him away? My answer would be no. Unless there's a really good offer on the table and there's a team that just wants to give up a 2nd round pick, then I'm all for that. You move on from him if he's not going to be that guy moving forward. But if we're thinking about a 3rd, maybe even a 4th, 5th round pick, then no. There's no reason for the Raiders to trade him away right now. Let him play out the season. If he doesn't want to come back next year, if the Raiders don't end up extending him, it's okay. Just let him walk. The Raiders will get some comp picks for around the same value that they would trade him away for right now. So it's okay. Keep him on the team right now. I don't want to move on. Unless the deal is really good, then we can move on from him. But outside of that, no. He's our #1 wide receiver right now. The Raiders can't risk moving anybody or even changing up the whole offensive scheme. So like I said, if it were up to me, I'm keeping Jakobi Meyers and I'm not trading him away unless the deal is really good. But just because I feel like that doesn't mean that the Raiders won't trade him away. I wouldn't be surprised if the Raiders were to move on from him. But, you know, according to a tweet that I just seen not too long ago from Ricky Scoops, this is just a rumor, but I know that there's been a lot of news that he's broke before it even broke out to the public before. So this is what he tweeted out not too long ago, saying that it sounds like Raiders wide receiver Jakobi Meyers is being traded out of town and won't be in the silver and black much longer. Now, take it as you will. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if the Raiders do move on from him. I think we kind of expected this, especially in the preseason when they didn't get a deal done and he voiced that he wanted to get traded. And to Jakobi Meyers' defense, though, you know, I give him props for even still showing up every single day at practice, showing up every single game, even though he's been underutilized so far this season. He's still going out there and putting the team first. Now, I do feel like there are more better situations out there for Jakobi. Me personally, I would just keep him on the roster because I don't feel like the Raiders need to move him. But if they do, then they do, man. I can't really do nothing about that. This is one of the main reasons why I wanted to get Terrell McMillan in the draft, but, you know, that's besides the point. Raider Nation, man, how do you guys feel about this news? There's been a lot going on. Jeremy Fowler, Adam Schefter, now Ricky Scoops. There's a lot of things going on. And if everything's true, Jakobi Meyers might not be a Raider after the trade deadline. What are your thoughts? Do you think the Raiders should move on? Do you feel like they shouldn't? Let me know down in the comments below. Until the next video, this is your boy, Small Raider, and your boy is Yow.